what's it released? What, Jim? And alive once again with Bryer for Bryer's music showcase. And we're going to be discussing the David Bowie album, Diamond Dogs, as it's released 50 years ago, as as recording this.
Yep,
It's
as well as Bad
crazy.
Company's debut.
Yeah, as well. Both really good albums.
Mm-hmm.
But I decided to go ahead and review Diamond Dogs over Bad Company. But yeah, it was my first time ever hearing the album today, and
All
I
right.
never heard it before. I only knew the song Rebel Rebel.
Right, yeah.
Got Nick. Hello, Nick.
Hello.
We're going to do a live stream with him soon. It's his album.
All
I
right,
think
cool.
we're going to be reviewing a Tom Petty album with him on this channel. So you can go ahead and check that out if you want after this. But yeah, I'm looking forward to reviewing this. We'll be talking about each track and giving our top 5 songs on the album. And yeah, give the album a rating out of 10 as well. But let's start off with the album cover.
All right, yes. Album cover. Definitely
It's very
interesting.
interesting, yeah.
Kind of
Very interesting.
freaky, especially the full image, of course. The good thing about it actually does have the full image. And
Yeah.
you have David, half a
Just
dog,
lying
I
there.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, just lying there. So
I
definitely,
find this dog's very creepy.
yeah, yeah, especially those figures back there.
Yeah.
But it does catch your attention.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
I like the logo on it as well.
Right. Yeah, probably his most famous logo. The whole how it's written.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind having that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
That
Speaking
would
of
be quite
which, I
cool.
actually do have a shirt.
Oh yeah. Very cool.
Kind of wished I wore it on the last
It's
video, but
That's not the most pleasing album cover.
yeah, yeah, I can
But
see it too. I
it's
can see
quite
both arguments.
it's quite a unique one though.
Yeah, it's unique. That's the best way to describe it. Just like but David himself.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll get the first track on the album, which it goes straight into the song Diamond Dogs, but we'll quickly talk about this one, and it's called Future Legend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of more like a set piece, really. It's not that long. It's just quick, just sets the mood. It kind of starts on an eerie note, with the howling in the background, which it has dogs, so diamond dogs, so
Makes
makes sense.
sense.
There's howling, yeah. Um, but yeah, you have this sort of spoken word thing that David does, kind of because this album's kind of it's not quite a concept album. It kind of is, kind of isn't, because I know this was kind of a combination of two projects he was thinking of doing around this time, where he wanted to make some musicals, and I think he was going to make one based around Ziggy Stardust, and then the other one, which will go more because it's more prevalent, but he wanted to do a musical adaptation of George Orwell's 1984. So I guess it's supposed to be part of that in a sense, even though it's not quite. There's no like real concrete story. It's kind of like more like themes that kind of play around. But again, it's supposed to but just getting back to the track again, not much to say about it. It's just sets the tone just to get you ready for the next track.
Hmm. That's pretty much all it is.
Hmm.
It's just an okay thing on its own, but
Hmm.
it works very well on the entire album.
Hmm.
But it's not it's got lyrics on it, but it's just got David talking.
Yes.
He's singing on this one.
Hmm.
But yeah, we went to the first actual track on the album, and that's Diamond Dogs, the title track.
Okay, so yeah, I think it's a pretty great song on its in itself. It's kind of funny because David was kind of moving away from the whole Ziggy Stardust character, and now it's supposed to be a different character called Halloween Jack, which kind of has that. He still has the same similar hair, but there's an eye patch on him, so
Mhm.
not too
Yeah.
different, but whatever. Yeah, that character didn't last long. But it's supposed to be kind of painting this picture of this like apocalypse going on, this like glitter apocalypse that David kind of says, how he puts it at least. Um, but yeah, I think musically it's pretty cool. I know he was really influenced by the Rolling Stones a lot on this album. because you have a lot of guitars. And it's funny because David's actually doing a majority of the guitar playing on here. Like, there's no Mick Ronson, really just David doing all the guitar work, and it's pretty good. I think David's a pretty great guitar player. And yeah, they have a very Keith Richards sound to it. I think the chorus is very memorable. There's some good saxophone playing that David also does, which is cool. And there there are times where David's vocals, there are times there's like some kind of effect on it, but it's not too distracting. Kind of works. But overall, I think it's a very good track overall.
Hmm. Yeah, we've got Nick saying his cat's the same colour eyes as David Bowie. That's funny.
Yeah, there you go. That's nice.
But yeah, I think it's a fantastic song. It's one. I think it's about 6 minutes long, but
Mm,
it didn't feel that long when I was listening to it.
yeah.
But yeah, it's one of the more rockier songs on the album, and yeah, it's got a very catchy chorus as well. It's got great instrumentation throughout the whole song, and I really like the cowbells in it as well.
I know
It,
Christopher Walken would
it,
love that.
yeah,
Mhm.
but I don't find them too distracting. I find them quite enjoyable here. But yeah, I think it's a fantastic song. Not not much else to really say on this one. But let me move on to the track "Sweet Thing."
All right, so this is kind of part of a little suite here. And I guess this was a parts of the George Orwell adaptation he wanted to do. Um, so yeah, for this first section, you have David kind of delivering a much lower vocal performance. This is actually one of those tracks where he's actually singing very low, one of his lowest he's ever done. But it sounds pretty cool. I like the piano underneath it. I think the piano was really nice touch. And it's cool that he does build up. He starts very low, but then he gradually works up to a more higher register, which is pretty cool. There's a really great guitar solo. Just overall, just has a very cool vibe that I really dig. It's a song that grew on me. I think when I first heard it, because I've had this album for maybe over a year, and it's been a while since I last heard it. And I believe when I first heard it, I couldn't quite get into it at first, but it's grown on me. Since then, it's definitely gone up in stature. But I think it's a pretty cool song. Was there anything else I was gonna say? Um, no, not really. Not really. Aside from the fact that, and when it came to the lyrics, David kind of used a different technique called a cut up technique, where it, I wrote down the definition. It's a aleatory literary technique in which a text is cut up and rearranged to create a new text. So
Mm,
kind of interesting.
yeah,
Um, so and that's yeah, it's a pretty good song. I do like it now.
so I think Nick's not available for the live stream Sunday.
Okay,
We'll rearrange that at some point.
yeah, we'll get to that one.
But yeah, I love the song "Sweet Thing." He definitely does start very low with his vocals here, but I thought it still sounded really good. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's one of the ballads on the album. It's definitely one of my favorite ballads on the album. It's got a nice change of pace to the really rocking start to the album. Yeah, this is another song that it went by quite quick for me, but this one actually is quite a short song. I wouldn't mind it being a bit longer actually.
Yeah.
Then move on to the track "Candidate."
Okay, Canada. All right, so again, just second part of this little sweep. I didn't have a whole lot to say. I didn't write too much, but I still enjoy it. Just barely missed my top five. It got to number 6, so it's a good honorable mention. Um, I think I mentioned piano and horns already, but they sound really good. Just another one where it just continues that vibe that the previous track set up. A good continuation of that. And again, it starts to pick up and during the second half. Um, but yeah, so I think it's a pretty good song, and again, just goes right into the next one. So yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's pretty great. I found that the instrumentation it was a bit all over the place
Mm-hmm.
on this song, but I didn't actually mind that about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's another really rocky song on the album. It's probably It's probably it might even be the rockiest song on the album, but it's definitely one of them. But it's not a track I'd revisit outside of the album, though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's especially when these songs blend into each other. It makes it a little harder to
Yeah.
listen to them on their own.
Mm-hmm. And then we're moving on back to Sweet Thing, with the Sweet Thing reprise.
Yeah. So, I mean, like the title suggests, it is a reprise. So, it's just kind of bringing us back to the first Sweet Things to kind of close it out. And I enjoy it. Definitely a nice way to close out the suites. Again, it's another one of those moments where I'm not going to listen to it on its own per se, but in the context of the album, it's pretty good. Really like probably my favorite part is when the the bass definitely gets more time to shine a bit more, especially towards the end, where it definitely is more prominent, which is pretty cool. That's what I like to hear. But yeah, overall, pretty good way to close out this suite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think it's a pretty good way of ending it. But I wouldn't have minded if the song wasn't on the album, though. It wouldn't have
Mm,
affected my rating of the album. But I still think it's pretty good, though. I did find that the instrumentation it did get a bit repetitive
mm.
toward the end of the song, but it wasn't a big deal. It's quite a short song. But then move on to the new song I knew going into this, and that is Rebel Rebel.
Yeah, right. Yep, the big song here. Just the
Yeah.
glam rock anthem. All right, so yeah, I don't has not been said about it. It's got that iconic guitar riff. Again, very Keith Richards inspired. Sounds like something he would make. That
Hmm.
guitar line, but it's got a good driving rhythm to it. Some good bass playing too, and of course you got that iconic chorus, and those very David Bowie lyrics that he's known for. Very androgynous, very ambiguous, but still very cool. Yeah, just a classic track. Yep, so it's got to be a highlight for sure.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite tracks on the album. Yeah, I love the guitar riff.
Mm-hmm.
It's one that gets stuck in your head. But it's one of my favorite rock songs that David Bowie did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's got pretty drumming as well. I think drumming on this whole album is quite underrated. I don't think it's spoken about enough. But yeah, I think Rebel Rebel. Yeah, it's a perfect song. One of David's best, in my opinion. Then we begin side two with Rock and Roll with Me.
All right, so this is another song I forgot all about going when coming back to this album after a while. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one. This was actually another highlight. Great piano playing, some good horns. Really like the chorus to it as well. I think the chorus is very good, and a really good vocal performance all around from David on this one, and just some nice guitar playing. And funny enough, at the very end, it almost like it kind of goes in a more soul type of direction, a little
Hmm.
soul type of feel, which is kind of fitting because when it comes to this album, it's kind of seen. It's the last album where David's fully in the glam rock, because on the next album he goes into Young Americans, which is more soul and funk oriented. So it's kind of is both an end of the glam rock, but also transitioning to what he would do on the next album.
Yeah,
So it's pretty nice, pretty nice. I do like that. I do like this track. So yeah, enjoy it. Really enjoy it.
yeah. I think this is the best part of the album is Rebel Rebel, and then moving on
Mm-hmm.
to this song. They're both my favorite songs on the album. But
Mm,
Rock and Roll with Me, it was actually co-written by someone called Jeff McCormack.
mm.
I'm not sure who he is. But yeah, it's got a very soulful vibe to the song, and yeah, I think it's really cool. I think it definitely adds a bit more variety to this album.
Mm-hmm.
I, I love the electric guitar as well. I'm assuming it's David doing that.
Yeah, I'm assuming so.
But yeah, my favorite part of the song though is that really good chorus. Yeah, I think it's a very underrated song on the album. I think this is probably the most underrated song on the album. Yeah, I think it's a brilliant song. And then move on to the track "We Are the Dead."
All right. So we're kind of going back to the George Orwell stuff again. So I guess this is part of the story where the main character is supposed to rebel against the government. Um, and yeah, it's a fine song. I will say it's not one of my personal favorites. Um, yeah, it definitely ranks towards the bottom. But there's some good parts I liked. I think the keyboards were pretty cool. And it's got a nice steady beat. But it's a very slow track. Kind of
Yeah,
doesn't really change it, and I do feel it does drag on a bit.
I
I
can
forgot
see
how
that.
yeah, I forgot how long that song was, but especially
Have a
towards
look.
the end, I think by the end that's when I started to
Yeah,
feel it.
it's about 5 minutes long.
Yeah, 5 minutes. So yeah, but maybe the last minute they could have shortened it, I think, but I still think it's fine. Um, and it's kind of funny. This is actually you hear David drop an F bomb, which is kind of funny.
Yeah,
But definitely catches your attention there. But overall, it's a fine song, but not one of my favorites.
yeah. I think this one's really good, but yeah, it's one of the weaker songs on the album though. But I'm still fine. It's here though. I really like that you can hear the mellotron in it as
Mm,
well, and David's doing that. But I think lyrically, this is probably my least favorite song on the album.
mm-hmm.
But I've not got too much else to say for this one. But we move on to the track 1984.
All right. I wonder what this one's about.
Yeah, I
Um,
wonder.
yeah, but yeah, of course, this is just straight up just naming the song after the book. Um, but yeah, this is actually another song. Now we're kind of going back to some good stuff here because this it starts on a creepy note to that creepy beginning, but then it quickly changes into something funky, which is pretty fun. Again, kind of a foreshadowing of what he'll do on Young Americans. But yeah, I think this was a very fun track once it gets going. I really like the piano. There's some strings on here. Got a nice funky rhythm guitar playing on, which is great, and some cool bass, of course. Of course, when you talk about funk, you got to have the bass in there. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, I thought it was a very fun song, and it's actually funny. I heard this song prior, but it was actually not from David. It was actually because Tina Turner actually does a cover of the song on Private Dancer. So I kind of knew the song
That's
prior, but
interesting.
yeah, it just didn't click. But yeah, this is a fun song. I really enjoy this one. Another highlight for me.
Yeah, it's one of the highlights for me as well. It's sort of early disco, really.
Yeah.
I see a lot of inspiration from this song, and yeah, I think this song adds even more variety to this album. Yeah, it's definitely it's one of the better songs on the album for sure. I think you got the second to last track, the last full length track, and that's Big Brother.
Okay. All right. So again, still in the George Orwell camp because apparently in this part of the story, it's about the main character, um, basically getting brainwashed into conforming with the government. I haven't read the book, so I don't know the specific details, but that's what I read online. But regardless, this is another song I really enjoyed. I think the chorus is probably my favorite part.
Yeah, it's
Um,
probably my favorite part as well.
Yeah, there's a good melody to that. Some great horns and a possible keyboard solo or probably guitar. I couldn't tell which it is. They sound a bit similar, but I think that sounded cool. And I do like how it switches up to the acoustic guitar. But yeah, overall, I think it's a pretty great deep cut. Really dig
Hmm.
this one.
Yeah, and I love the saxophone in it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you you can sort of hear hand claps in it,
Oh yeah,
but
yeah, right.
it's very quiet in the mix though.
Mm.
But yeah, I think it's a fantastic song. It's definitely one of the rockiest songs on the album. It's got a very glam rock vibe to it, and I really like the mellotron in it. It sort of sounds like a trumpet
Mm.
at points. But yeah, I think it's a fantastic song, and I sort of wish that was the album closer,
Yeah, yeah,
but instead we close with a song, "Chant of the Ever Circling Skeletal Family." Very
yeah.
long title.
No, that's a mouthful. That's a catchy title. Um, but yeah, yeah, I guess it's a fitting closer because again, it's kind of closing the story, although it's kind of hard to tell due to the lyrics being very different. But apparently it's supposed to be the main character getting executed. I wouldn't be able to tell you how, but it's again, it's got a good drum group to it, and and but yeah, yeah, I didn't have much else to add to that, but there's some guitars on it, but overall, it's kind of definitely not gonna listen to. I'm not gonna listen to it on its own,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's an interesting way to go out with, especially when they kept repeating "bro" for the remaining few remaining minute. Um, but yeah, it's okay. It's a decent closer, but not one of the strongest songs here.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. But I like there's a, I think that there was a tambourine in this
Mm-hmm.
song, if I'm not mistaken. But there was also a unique sounding instrument on the song. I'm not sure what it was though,
Mm.
but it definitely did make the song sound a bit more unique. But yeah, it's not one of my favorite songs on the album. But I think it's still a pretty good way of closing this whole album.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now we'll go through our top 5 songs on the album.
All right. So top 5 songs. Number 5, I have "Sweet Thing." Yep, like I said, that song grew on me. Number 4, "Rock and Roll with Me." Number 3, "Big Brother." Number 2, 1984. And to no shock, number 1 is going to be "Rebel Rebel."
I think we've got quite similar. I think we've got I think 4 of the same songs in our top
Wow,
5.
cool. Nice.
But I'll go with one honorable mention first, and that's the song "Big Brother."
Mm-hmm.
But my number 5 is 1984. My number 4 is title track "Diamond Dogs." My number 3 is "Sweet Thing." My number 2 is "Rebel Rebel." And my favorite is "Rock and Roll with Me."
Oh, wow, nice.
I was
Okay.
surprised that "Rebel Rebel" wasn't my favorite on the album,
That's good then. That's cool.
but we now give the album a rating out of 10.
Okay, out of 10. All
Yeah.
right, so yeah, going back to when I first heard it, I thought it was good, but it didn't really blow me away. But yeah, revisiting this album again, it definitely reminded me like there are some great songs on here. I still wouldn't say it's one of my top favorite David Bowie albums. I think there are some albums I prefer more, start to finish at least. But I think the songs that I liked really elevated this one. So I think I'm gonna give this a solid 9 out of 10. I think it's a pretty good album. Definitely a nice way to go out for his glam rock period, and
Mm-hmm.
he'll be going out to do other things. So yeah, 9 out of 10.
I'm going to rate it slightly higher than you. I'm going to give it a 9.25 out of 10.
Good, that's a good score.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I've also written down my own version of the album.
Okay.
A version that I'd probably give a 9.75 to. And it begins with Diamond Dogs, but it still has it still has Future Legend in it. But I'm including them both as one song.
Mm.
Then I'll go with Sweet Thing, but it's on the Sweet Thing reprise. I'll add an extra minute onto the original version.
Mm.
So I've gone with Rebel Rebel, and the first side with them in Rock and Roll with Me. So sorry, I think the second side. I'm not sure. I think Rock and Roll with Me will probably begin the second side.
Yeah, I think so.
Then I'll also go with We Are the Dead, 1984, and I'll end it with Big Brother. So yeah,
Right, that'd be
that's
cool.
my own version of it.
Yeah, that'd be good.
But
Yeah, that sounds
I
pretty
still
good.
think,
You have like they become more even tracks, I guess.
but I still think this is a fantastic album. There's only a couple of tracks I probably wouldn't have included, but I'm glad that we reviewed this to celebrate its 50th anniversary.
Yeah, right. Yes.
Yeah, that's 50th anniversary to the Bad Company album. So before we conclude this, what are your thoughts on that album?
On the Bad Company.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think it's a really good rock album. Some great some classic classic rock radio staples, like, of course, Can't Get Enough, the title track, of course, Don't Let Me Down, Rocksteady. Yeah, just name a few, but yeah, I mean, Paul Rogers, great voice, of course. And yeah, overall, I think it's a pretty good debut album. I mean, Bad Company is a band I don't listen to that often, but when I'm in the mood, it's usually a good time. So yeah, I think that's a good album.
It's the only album I've heard of theirs.
Mm-hmm.
But I think my favorite track's probably I think I'll go with Ready for Love and the final track on the album, Seagull.
Oh yeah, that's a
I
good
think
one.
Seagull's my favorite song on the album.
Yeah, that's a good
Actually,
pick.
yeah. But actually, I do prefer that album to the David to Diamond Dogs.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know which one I prefer more. I think I might go with I might also go with Bad Company, but just by a little bit.
But I'm still glad that I chose to review this one with you.
Yeah, same here. Glad to be a part of it.
I can see one of your cats.
Yeah, yeah. She's been sleeping back there.
He's not got David Bowie eyes either, has he?
Sadly, no. Yeah, I'm not sure how she's gonna react to the dog.
No. And there's two of them on the album cover as well.
I know. She's our oldest.
How old is she?
She's gonna be turning 4 this year, I think.
Wow. I can't wish my dog is around here somewhere now.
Yeah.
I think she's in here though.
That's good then.
But yeah, I think we'll leave the live stream here.
All right.
If anyone watching wants to let us know their thoughts of this album, please feel free. I want to shout out one of the members of the vinyl community because this is their favourite album of all time, and that's Richard McCook.
Oh yeah,
Boy from Northern Ireland. Yeah, Diamond Dogs is his favourite album.
Nice.
But do you have any final words before we conclude this?
Well, like we said, make sure you give this album a listen for its 50th anniversary. Don't be a rebel.
Or be a rebel and don't listen to it. Either way, you're going to be a rebel.
Yeah, good point.
But thanks for watching. Until next time, ciao.